Hi, guys. Welcome to the Opinions That Matter, where we explore the interaction of mental health, pop culture, literature, books, movies, and much more. Join us as we explore the difficulties of life and our human experience through insightful discussions with our special guests. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Opinions That Matter. So, today we have a writer, engineer, Nitesh Singh. He's a thriller writer and he is an engineer by day. Hi, Nitesh.
Hello, very good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so do you want to introduce yourself, tell the audience about yourself?
Well, you have introduced me. I guess that is enough. There is nothing much else to say. Uh, yeah, we can
Okay,
continue.
so today we are going to talk about men's mental health. So I thought best है कि किसी लड़के को ही invite किया जाए and get a man's perspective.
Okay, okay.
So
Well, I am glad you want my perspective. But just a disclaimer: I am no expert. I am no
yeah,
psychologist or a psychology student. I'm just a
yeah.
layman. Well, not exactly. That is not true because when I write about characters, I do have to do some kind of analysis in their psyche. So,
Hmm.
from that perspective, I'm a self taught reader of people. That's it. No professional or academic training.
Right.
Yeah.
I want an ordinary person's perspective only because I want to know how an
Oh,
ordinary
okay. You
person
won't get
goes.
it. It won't get any more ordinary than I am, the most ordinary person ever. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your understanding of mental health? Your understanding,
My
an ordinary
understand.
person's
See,
understanding.
yes, yes. So my understanding would be that men and women don't have much difference in terms of their mental health, but the way they express it differs a lot from each other. So, as far as the mental health itself is concerned, there is not much difference, but the expression differs. Men are more guarded towards their feelings. They are taught, or maybe it comes by like it's a biological factor in them that they are not readily available, emotionally available to express their feelings.
So,
So,
okay,
in
so
that,
you are telling men are not emotionally available biologically.
yeah. See, because like not biologically, like it's a evolutionary fact that men have to stay physically strong or at least just maintain a facade. So in that
Maintain a
sense,
that that's
hmm.
that's definitely true because I think they are taught socially and conditionally condition किया जाता है
Yeah.
उनको कि
Also
you're
evolutionary.
also evolutionary. Okay, मान लिया
Yes,
चलो.
yes.
Yeah, and it's very hard to break those patterns, I think. So, what were you taught about mental health, or what did you learn while obviously while growing up हमको नहीं बताया जाता था, but what have you learned through the years
Well,
as a writer, as a
unfortunately,
reader, पढ़ के ये सब.
unfortunately, it's not part of any kind of curriculum.
Hmm.
It's not something that is taught in schools. Maybe there are certain seminars somewhere occasionally that people talk about it, but it's not part of the usual regular curriculum. And in India, we don't have the this culture of talking about it at home as well. So whatever it is, it stays where it is, and maybe you find an outlet, maybe you make friends that you talk about things with, maybe you pick up some hobbies, and that has like some kind of therapeutic effect on you. For me, it was reading and writing. For some other people, it's like playing some musical instrument or painting or doing pottery, playing with dogs. So things like
Hmm.
that. So
Playing with dogs, yeah,
see, yeah.
that's
So there
nice.
is no formal outlet to express your feelings, but of course, since we are a biological being, we do find an outlet. The body has a way of finding things that suits it, so we end up finding certain channels through which we cope with our mental health.
Yeah, that's right. So, how do you think we can encourage this conversation around mental health among men, especially?
The first and the foremost thing would be to create spaces where people don't feel judged, or they don't feel that they will be ridiculed or mocked for being vulnerable. And specifically in case of men, it is to tell them that it's okay to be vulnerable, at least, like, or maybe you don't have to pour your heart out in everything. At least just accepting that you're having a hard day, or just a one liner, just accept that things are not completely okay, would be a good step to start uh, the journey of exploring your mental health, and then coming to terms with it. So I
Right.
would
So
say start with baby steps, because that's completely necessary, because we cannot expect men to just start expressing like women do. They have their own different way, they have their own channels and a process of doing things. So start with baby steps.
So I've heard many people, whenever I talk to my male friends, they tell me, we share our problems and we are discussing things. But when I tell them maybe, a psychologist could help you if you're struggling so much, they always tell me कि कौन बैठ के बातें करे, बातें नहीं करनी है, and that's understanding of therapy and mental health. That's not there. Most of my male friends से मुझे यही आंसर मिला है कि मुझे कंप्लेन नहीं करनी है बैठ के, जबकि थेरेपी इज नॉट रियली अबाउट कंप्लेनिंग एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड बहुत कम अंडरस्टैंडिंग है अमंग द मेल पॉपुलेशन, दैट्स व्हाट आई फील पर्सनली.
Yeah, because I feel, see, the general perception is that psychology is not exact science, and men tend to be more objective in their approach towards things. So what they think, there is a very blurry small line between cribbing about something and genuinely expressing your feelings. So
Yeah,
I think they tend to, yeah, they tend to like put those both those things in a certain measuring cup, in the same measuring cup, and that is why there is this sort of reluctance. And secondly, it's about finding the right person, right channel through which you can express, and men will be more less trusting towards that channel. It takes a while to open them up.
because they have also been dismissed a lot during their childhood, and as they are growing up they have been dismissed, they have not been heard, they have been told just man up, or
Yeah.
रो क्यों रहा है, लड़कियों की तरह क्यों रो रहा है, is a phase everyone uses.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's
that is there. Plus there is that feeling to be attractive. So if a man is supposed to be like a strict, uh, stiff personality, which exudes confidence and is not vulnerable. So if they think that if they are vulnerable, if they cry, if they are being emotionally expressive, then people will judge them. They will not be considered as an attractive personality, which I think is true to some extent. Men who are crying or are weak or vulnerable are not attractive enough in the society. So the feelings, the stereotypes, have certain truths to them as well.
yeah, the way people perceive them, that's
Yes.
something that needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Appreciating the vulnerability of an individual,
Yes.
regardless of the gender.
Yes. Yes.
So, how do you find coping with your mental health? How have you coped with your mental health
Like I
throughout
said
your life?
earlier, we all tend to find our own channels. I read, I write, I engage in other creative activities, and it's just like an old trick. You can just go back and talk to your best friend about your feelings. You can express things that are bothering you. So you tend to find those channels, and I am no different in that way. I do what everyone else does. Uh, I don't go to a therapist, but I do have certain hobbies and channels through which I express myself. So
Did you ever feel the need to go to a therapist ever in your life and you just
I,
resisted?
yeah, I, I have had moments where I have Googled the therapists near me, and I have talked to some friends, and their experiences have not been very encouraging, to be honest. So one of my friends went to a therapist. I mean, I'm not. I don't know where he got that therapist from. Maybe it was some recommended therapist from on Procto or some app, and that therapist would just give him Instagram quotes that life is what you make it, beauty is on the inside, things like that.
Yeah,
And
that's not the
I
right
told my
way.
friends, you could have come to me. I would have been a better therapist than this guy. So,
No, that's
so
not real therapy,
hmm.
obviously. And a lot of people are just posing as counselors, and some don't have degrees, or some have degrees, but they just, don't apply that. I don't know. Easy way out चाहिए लोगों को. There are a lot of bad therapists out there, honestly. मेरे को बहुत मुश्किल से मिली
Yeah,
एक
exactly. So
अच्छी
there is
अच्छी.
this legitimate fear as well that what if they end up making things worse? What if
Hmm.
you go there and they just probe into your feelings and then leave you unguarded completely? So that fear is there as well, and of course time तो waste हो ही जाएगा ये सब करने में.
पैसे भी वेस्ट होंगे if you don't
पैसे भी
find.
वेस्ट हो जाएंगे, टाइम भी
But I
वेस्ट हो
think it's
जाएगा, and it is completely possible that you're
but I
left
think it's a process,
worse
and
off.
it's a very hard process, and you have to go through it because it was hard for me to find one that actually understood me and my
But you have
issues.
found one.
Yes,
Okay,
thankfully.
so you can
And
now refer to people.
yeah, but एक ही को कितना रेफर कर दूंगी, you know?
हाँ,
There should be
so
more good therapists out there for sure, I think.
mm-hmm, definitely.
So, as a writer, how has writing helped you in your mental health?
Writing has been very soothing for me because my other profession is completely different from
Mm.
writing. It's very technical. I have to write code and develop websites and all. So it acts as a relief, and also it acts as a channel where I can express myself, and it's also a learning experience. So it teaches you a lot. It helps you in a lot of ways. So that way writing is helpful because it's a creative art as opposed to a technical art, and
Yeah,
this
that's
is
right.
how it is.
Creativity
Mhm.
helps a lot. I think creativity is the best outlet for mental health, for me personally.
Yeah. Yeah, well, to be honest, writing code is also a creative art. You have
Okay.
to come up with creative ways to solve
Yes.
problems.
Hmm.
Yes, but it's not emotional. There are no emotions involved. So in
Yeah.
writings, you can get the emotions involved, and you can portray yourself or people you have observed around you in, and then like make a accumulation of those feelings inside a character. So it gives you a lot of freedom. You can act like a god in certain ways. You can create a whole
Hmm.
other universe. You can get immersed in that universe. So
Hmm.
writing is that liberating in that sense, that anything else is not.
So you're a fiction writer. That's why, yeah, that in fiction writing you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
play God for
fiction,
sure.
yes.
So
I,
have
I
you
I
ever?
seek an escape from reality. That is what it is.
I think every one of us does that.
Yeah.
So have you ever explored mental health aspects in your novels?
In my
In your novels, books.
yes, in my first novel, The House by the Highway, both of the protagonists are suffering from mental health issues because they have been haunted by this man in their nightmares. So one of them is a very from a very well off family, and the other one is not, who does not have any monetary support from her parents. So she's not able to afford therapy. But one of the protagonists is still going through therapy. She has been through many therapists, none of it has helped. And the first chapter itself includes an entire therapy session, almost entire, not completely. So I have explored in that sense. And the second therapist has a brother who is autistic. So I wanted to draw attention to this aspect as well of mental health, because in
Mm.
India people don't tend to understand what autism is. They tend to dismiss it. They tend to say that it's a mental illness, that nothing can be done. It cannot be the future. The people who have autism have no future. So it had to be explored because it's entirely possible that if they have autism, there's this possibility that they have talents in some other fields, because autistic people tend to be very sharp, very intelligent as well. So I am exploring all these aspects. In my second book, there isn't much to do with mental health, because it's a fast-paced murder mystery. So there isn't much time to explore mental health. But in the first one, I certainly did.
So, how do you like manage this pressure of being a writer and a full time engineer, doing a full time job?
There is no pressure actually, because I enjoy writing. I find the time to do it because I enjoy it. So I don't consider it as a pressure. I think it's a balancing act. I balance the pressure from my job while writing and the pressure of writing while doing my job. So I have this constant change of sceneries, and that is how I
Mm.
cope with it. The trick is to just stay busy, stay productive, and just doing what you like and love.
I
Then
think
there is
you
no
are
pressure.
very
Mm.
productive as much as I've known you. I think you are very productive. And how do you stay so productive? Do you have any tips?
I I don't have a social life, so that's why.
That's not
So
true.
it's not. I think it is
No?
like I do have a social life, but it's like one day a week or one day in a month or 2 days in a month. That's all. So I read, I write, I even watch TV shows to get ideas for my writing.
Mm.
I do my job, and I pick up other stuff on the side. Like I sometimes make YouTube videos and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you have a YouTube channel as well.
yes, yes, I do have a YouTube channel. You could I could give you the link and you could paste it in the description, but the topic is completely different. There I react to political and educational
Mm.
videos. Hmm.
Yes, yes, I know.
Hmm.
Yeah, you can tell all about your books and your YouTube channel while we end the interview. You can tell it at
Yeah.
the end.
Okay, okay. I have one book with me. This
Sure,
is the
sure,
only
sure.
book that is published till now. I have designed the cover. This is the second edition. For second edition, I have designed the cover, The House by the Highway, and I have pasted some Amazon quotes from readers, from their reviews and all. And you
Nice.
can check it out. It's on Amazon. It's a horror supernatural thriller about the story of these two women who are being haunted by a man in their nightmares. And then, when the story starts, that man visits them in reality. He's outside their homes. So now they decide that since they are grown up, they have their own resources, and the problem is no longer problem can no longer be ignored, because the man is right there in real life. It's no longer a nightmare. So they have to do something now. They have to investigate. So they don't know
Mm.
each other. They start this investigation, and somehow the fate unites them. They get to know that there is someone else out there who is suffering from the same problem, and which is some very reassuring in a certain way. So then we see their story as they get united and they investigate the rest of the phenomena. Where did this man come from? Who is he? Why is he haunting them? And you will get to
That's
know once you read.
very
Hmm.
interesting, actually. Thriller, mystery.
Yeah.
So, how do you get these ideas?
For this book, I just sat down and I planned all the aspects of the story. Since it was horror, I wanted a haunted house, but not in the traditional sense, where a family moves into a haunted house and then things start to happen, which is the plot of every horror movie ever. So I wanted a haunted house, but it's not a place where a family moves in and they live, but still but still the house affects the lives of all the characters in the story. At one or the other point, they have been inside the house. The house has certain history with them, and it controls their lives some way, in some way. So I planned all the aspects of this story. It wasn't like that. But sometimes what would happen, you get a certain picture and then you build around that picture with the questions and answers and characters. So that way a story is formed. So which is what happened in my second book. I had a clear picture, the protagonist and his wife sitting in a kitchen, and there is a guy talking to them. and then I start to ask questions: who is this guy, why is he here, who are these people? And then the complete story is formed. But for this first book, I sat down, I took a paper, and I planned every character, every plot twist, everything. So either of the ways is nice, whatever works for you.
That's very interesting. Okay, so do you want to say anything to the men out there on this topic of mental health that we are talking about?
I would say, I would tell men to express themselves, which is evidently clear from our discussion anyway. But what is more important as a man is to be supportive towards other men who are being vulnerable, because the tendency or the instinct in men is to be dismissive or to ridicule other men who are being expressive. And that is the reason why men don't generally open up with their male friends. It's always about either the conversations are always about either sports or career or family stuff, but not about their own well-being.
Or
So
about
I would say,
politics?
I would tell them to open up and support your bros as well.
Yeah, it's more about politics or sports. And
Yeah. Because that's what we all discuss anyway.
yeah, I've noticed that. Like, people are
Give two men a mic and a platform, and they'll talk about everything under the sun except themselves.
exactly. I agree with you. And I think there are a lot of people doing that already, talking about everything except themselves. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, yes. I have this line in my next book, the manuscript that I've written recently. I have this line that they will talk about everything except themselves.
Hmm. So you agree to it. That's nice.
Yeah, definitely. Because unless there is a woman moderator, then she will ask pointed questions. Okay, how
Hmm.
do you feel about this? How is
Yeah.
your experience? How was your experience growing up as a child? So then
Hmm.
it's different. But if it's just two men, they will talk about everything else.
Yeah, that's true. So how do you do you think women should also have this need to change this thinking? The women who think that नहीं लड़कों को रोना नहीं चाहिए or vulnerable नहीं होना चाहिए, like there is this thing thinking out
Yeah,
there
yeah,
among
definitely.
women as well.
That is expected of them. Yeah,
Hmm. And even in
because men
romantic
mostly
scenarios
do.
it is.
Because men, whatever mostly they do to impress women. So if women have a certain expectation, they will pretend to have that in them. So I think the world is governed more by men than women, or more by women than men, because men
Oh,
are just trying to impress women.
smart. Smart. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
Yeah, so
thinking that
everybody has to learn, unlearn certain things. They have to adjust in some ways, but there are things that you cannot help with, and I totally understand it. If you're not attracted towards a man who is vulnerable or cries all the time, then I
it's
won't
not
judge
about
you at
crying
all.
all the time,
Mhm.
nobody is really crying all the time. It's just I don't know.
No, it's
I
possible.
don't
No,
think.
like some men like tend to cry on cue. Like it's easy for them to cry, but
Which is
for
good
some it
actually.
doesn't
Maybe
just
they
come.
have been validated, उनके emotions validate हुए हैं, they are allowed to cry and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Because if you have watched Friends, right? So
Yeah.
Chandler is not able to cry whatever happens, and Monica is
Hmm.
trying her best.
There
But
is this
once the
episode,
floodgates
yeah.
open, he's
Hmm.
crying on everything. So Monica is now regretting, why did I do this? So there are both aspects to it. They
I
want
think
them to be
that's
vulnerable, but not to the fault, but not to that extent that it becomes annoying. Yeah.
I think that's also exaggeration कि वो बिल्कुल ही चुप ही नहीं हो पाता and he just keeps crying, crying, crying because he has been joking about his trauma for such a long time and everything.
Yes, yes.
I think there are
And
actually two scenarios in that. Rachel also finds a man who is crying and she dumps him, which is
yes, exactly.
which is very
Exactly.
unfair.
And even Ross once meets up with Janice, and he's just cribbing about how he's divorced so many times, and Janice is like, I just can't take this anymore.
Yeah,
So
and he gets
yeah,
shocked that I am so annoying that I am annoying you.
yes, exactly. So Ross is like, have I become so annoying that I'm annoying the most annoying person on earth? So there are both aspects to it. I understand if women don't want somebody who is just crying or bitching all the time,
Bitchy.
because that is not an attractive quality. Be that as
So,
it may, people may
yeah, but
say
we have
anything.
to distinguish between when someone is
Hmm.
just complaining and bitching and when someone is genuinely trying to express their emotion and
Yes, yes, yes. And you have to find the right channel as well.
yeah, you
Yeah,
cannot
find
always
professional
make
help.
your partner your
Yeah.
therapist. You should not
Exactly.
actually.
Mhm.
That's
Exactly.
one thing. Also, I like Ross a lot because I think he's the most sensitive man in the show.
Yes, yes, he is sensitive.
I really like him. So that was a great discussion, Nitesh.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it a
likewise.
lot.
I had
What do
fun.
you want to like tell about your books? All the books that you have written.
Well, only one is out that I talked about. Other one is on the way. It's a murder mystery, and I've written one more recently. It's a political thriller. I don't know when it will be out. It's a very slow process, you know. Finding the right publisher,
Yeah,
pitching to them, and the discussion back and forth. And they already have so many books planned in the pipeline. Yours will come at the end of the queue.
yeah.
So it takes time. I'm also working on a non-fiction book. So it's not
Which
like I'm a fiction guy completely. I'm working on a non-fiction book. It's
which?
about, yeah, it's about coming out stories of LGBT people. So I'm interviewing real life people, how they came out to their families, in what circumstances, what were their reaction, and were they like, there are two types of coming out. Either you come out on your own or you are somehow exposed.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there are people who got exposed as well that I have
Mm.
talked to, and I am interviewing other people too. So if anyone of from your audience knows somebody, some woman actually, who has come out to their families, then I would love to interview them. And
That's
yes,
very
but
interesting.
it is for yeah, it is for gay, bisexuals, and lesbians only, not trans. We are not covering that in that book because it's a political landmine that I want to avoid right now. Maybe in some future book, some other day. That's all.
Okay. Well, that's a very interesting thing. Thanks for telling us that.
Yeah, I have interviewed like five people till now, and I have to space them out because after I have heard one story, I need some time to digest it and recover from it.
Hmm.
So I'm just dreading the day I'll have to start writing on the chapters, but it has to be done, and I will do it hopefully.
That's great. So thank you, Nitesh. Thank you for being on the podcast. I really
Thank you
enjoyed the
for having
conversation.
me, like for literally dragging me into this podcast because I have been delaying for a very long time.
Yeah, I
Sorry
dragged
for
him,
that.
guys. I
Thank you.
dragged him.
Yes. All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.